Okay, good morning everyone. This is the third biology video. If you're watching this one, hopefully you've watched the other two. You're doing a really good job if you've done those two. That's impressive, okay? So this one is the third week's worth of homework. I guess this is kind of in your Easter holidays now, or maybe you're watching it the first week after Easter holidays. After we've done eukaryotes and prokaryotes and parts of a cell, then we did microscopes. Now we need to know about how cells divide. And here's our challenge question here. So how do cells divide? What does that mean? It means that obviously you're made of a lot of cells. How do those cells form new cells from those? Okay, there's some key words here: differentiate, diploid, mitosis and daughter cells. And here are the lesson objectives. So have a little read of those, pause it if you want to and go through those. So there are two types of cell division. There's mitosis that you learn in year 10 and there's meiosis that you learn in year 11. So we're just looking at mitosis at the moment. What is mitosis? What's the purpose of it? And it's for these. So every time a cell needs to divide, it needs to divide because you need to grow bigger. If your cells become faulty or they're damaged, you need to be replaced. And then finally, if there's any other damaged tissue as well. Okay, so cells have a certain life expectancy, and at that point they'll be go through cell program death, and they need to be replaced to keep you healthy. Okay, so the new process of making new cells is this word here, which is mitosis. Okay, mitosis is just for growth, repair, and damaging tissues. If you think about it, at one point in your lifestyle, you'd have been only one cell big. Okay, you won't remember that stage, but we are now made of about 50 billion cells. Okay, so how does one cell turn into 50 billion cells? Well, I suppose originally it'd be a sperm and an egg, and they will meet to form one cell. Then that cell will divide into two cells, and those two cells will divide into 4 cells, and those 4 cells into 8 cells, and so on and so on. Okay, that cell division, when each cell is identical to its parent cell, is called mitosis. You should also just get a recap at this point. You've done this in year 9 about what is actually in a nucleus. So I'm going to flick through this now. Obviously your body, we just said, is 50 billion cells. If we click on tissues, so you've got organs inside your body, such as the stomach and the heart and the liver. Okay, you have different tissues that are many cells working together to form those. And then cells, which we've looked at already from last lesson, these are going to be animal cells because we're talking about ourselves. If you zoom in on a cell, you'll get a nucleus. Okay, and when you look inside that nucleus there, you'll see that there are chromosomes, these little finger-like structures. Okay, and chromosomes are made of sections of DNA, and on those chromosomes you'll get single genes. So you'll get a chromosome, one for your mum, one for your dad, and on those chromosomes you'll get a section of that DNA that codes for something like your hair colour or your eye colour. So there's a task there in the PowerPoint. If you could stop the PowerPoint and have a little look through that, okay? It's asking you to label the diagram below and try and use some of the words provided to do so. So have a little look here. What have we got? We've obviously got a cell, okay, and then we have a nucleus, and then getting smaller inside those we have these chromosomes. Those chromosomes are DNA that's wound up really tightly. So if we unwound the DNA, we'll get what I think you probably recognise as this double helix ladder structure. And that's what DNA is made of. And what is DNA? DNA just controls your entire body, everything your cell does. It's the information on the blueprint to make you. So have a little go at these in the PowerPoint, make sure you understand what they are. You can pause it and you can actually fill in the answers for it, okay? After that, you need to know about mitosis itself. So I'm going to go through the stages here. Like I've already said, we have a cell here, and this is the nucleus. It's been made much bigger, okay? If we look inside this nucleus, we have these structures here, which are chromosomes. This is got 2 pairs of chromosomes. So the little one here we'll call chromosome 1, and this one's from your dad, and that's chromosome 1 from your mum. And then we have chromosome 2 from your dad, and chromosome 2 from your mum. This cell is known as diploid because it has 2 copies of each chromosome. There are 4 chromosomes in total, but there are 2 pairs of chromosomes. So the first stage, if we want to make an identical copy of this cell, which is what mitosis is, we need to copy everything within it. So we have these little structures that make their way to each side of the cell, which are important in a minute. But what you should notice now is that each chromosome is made a perfect copy of itself. So now we still have 4 chromosomes, but this bit of DNA here is identical to this bit of DNA, and this bit of DNA here is identical to this bit of DNA. If the DNA didn't copy before the cells divided, you wouldn't get the same amount of DNA in the daughter cells as you would do in the parent cells. Then what happens? They condense and they shrink a little bit, and they form along the equator of the cell here. So if we look at what we originally started with, we've still got 4 chromosomes, but we have duplicates of them, which are called chromatids. Okay, so here is your chromosome from your dad, chromosome 2, and here's chromosome 2 from mum, chromosome 1 from dad, 1 for dad and 1 for mum. Okay, so they're attached by these little spindle fibres which grab each side of the chromosome, and then they get pulled to each end of the cell. Okay, and then what happens here is this is our cell membrane. A new cell membrane forms, a new nuclear membrane forms, and what do we end up with? We end up with 2 cells which are absolutely identical to the first cell that we started. So we still have our chromosome 2s and our chromosome 1s from mum and dad. So the stages are, make sure you understand it, the DNA needs to copy, they line up on the equator, spindle fibres attach, and they get pulled to either end of it until we end up with 2 cells with 2 new cell membranes and 2 nuclear membranes. Here's the diagram, the flow diagram again. Okay, at this point in your lesson we'd normally actually make this from Play-Doh. Here we have a cell. It's only got 2 chromosomes in. It's got a pair of chromosomes, 1 from mum, 1 from dad. Okay, so it's different. This time, this chromosome's copied to make 2 chromatids, and this one's duplicated here. They line up in the middle and they get pulled to the end, so you end up with an identical copy of what's happening. Okay, so make sure you understand that. At this point now, I think it's probably best, instead of just keep going over and over it, you can look at the different stages there. What you need to do is you need to be able to identify the different stages of what's happening and what the outcome is. So I would stop the video at this point. I would draw out the stages of mitosis. I'd explain what was happening. Try and get the words in there of diploid, i.e. there's 2 copies of chromosome 1 and 2 copies of chromosome 2. And explain that the daughter cells, the ones that you end up with, are genetically identical to what you start. And what is the purpose of mitosis? It's for growth and repair. It's also for replacing damaged tissue. Okay, pause the video at this point. Make sure you do the worksheets that are attached to this, and good luck with everything. And also, there will be a Sam Learning homework on mitosis for you to have an attempt on. Good luck, everyone.